Welcome back, everybody, to This Is It on YouTube. My name is Devin.
And I'm Brad.
And today we have a very special episode for you. That's right. Welcome back to the show, DK.
That's right. If you're familiar with the podcast, we've had DK on before for our second episode of this season, which was a discussion episode. We're going to be talking to DK about what the response has been for him since the episode dropped. His passion, which is music. We're going to be talking to him about his passion. We're going to be talking to him about how he got into music, his life, what was it like before music, and also some of the things that's happened to him since then, like Little Boy and a couple other things. So yeah, it's going to be a really good episode. Make sure you tune in for that one. Music feature. What we got for music feature?
This week we have the music feature that, really took off on the internet about a couple months ago, and that is Lil Boy, featured on Adam 22's No Jumper. You know the drill. Grab your mom, grab the dog, warm up the popcorn. This is episode 17 with DK. Welcome everybody to This Is It. My name is Devin. I am joined alongside Brad, and today we have somebody very special in the studio. Welcome back to the show, DK. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for sticking with us. Brad had an hour-long interview on a Sunday.
Yeah, he did.
My brother
over-exaggerating.
My brother wanted to... No, I know, that was crazy. My brother wanted to make a milkshake.
Yeah.
And we had some technical difficulties.
Cool.
Let's just say this ain't an interview you will forget.
Nope, I'm definitely never getting this.
Oh.
We're just the face of professionalism at this point, you know what I mean? That's how we do. This is
I
it.
got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I'm playing this day for a reason.
Appreciate it, man. On St. Patty's Day, right? St. Patty's Day?
I don't drink, so I don't care.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So I'm chilling.
I don't care about any of that.
I'm not weight, so
It's
it's not hitting me the same way.
It's like it's a drinking holiday. It's like, okay, I don't need to deal with this. Like,
Yeah.
all I end up doing is just designating driving people.
We're getting back to this. We got DK in with us today. DK, thank you for coming through.
Of course.
We start off with the podcast the same way. We just want to start off with you. Just tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us about who you are as an individual, the person behind DK, so to speak.
I guess a lot of people don't necessarily know me. I'm a musician, born and raised in Agawam, Massachusetts. I don't really consider myself from Agawam just because I've been all around Western Mass my entire life, between going to Chicopee and working in different places in Western Mass, and having that, I kind of just say, oh, I'm from the area. I don't really say I'm from one town, but I am from Agawam. I'm just a singer, producer, artist from the area.
What was life growing up like in Agawam? For people that aren't familiar with Agawam.
For me, growing up on my family side, it's been always great. So my family's been great. My mom, my father, my sister, and my grandmother who passed January 2018. She had lived with me for like 13 years, so it was like us basically most of my childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, growing up in Agawam was really tough. I was, bullied excessively, and it was really bad because I've always been like the really, really big, tall kid. I was like 6 inches taller than all these kids. I'm like 6'4". It's not like I'm 6'10", but like I was always, picked on for being this like bigger but quiet kid, and it was definitely tough. Like, being bullied, and like I left and went to McDuffie in Springfield. It was in Granby now, but it's in Springfield. And then I went to Chicopee High School and graduated, and so I've been all around forever. But growing up in Agawam was, I don't know, I have poor memories of my early childhood. My high school years and on were definitely a little better than my childhood. So yeah.
So what led into you making music?
So my father's a musician for a living.
Oh, really?
Which like people know, but some people don't.
Yeah.
My father plays in 2 bands. He's the Savage Brothers band, their big cover band out of Windsor.
Oh, shit.
Windsor Rocks, yeah. So that's why I didn't know if you knew them, if you knew the Savage Brothers band.
If I asked my neighbor, he'd probably ring a bell for him.
They're more so like our parents go
Yeah.
see them cover band type thing, but
What kind of music?
like funk rock, like basically like
Oh,
70s, 80s, 90s. They do a lot,
Nice.
and like some of today, but they do a lot of the 70s, 80s stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like my mom on a Friday night.
Yeah. I mean that's basically
definitely
what it is. And he played music growing up. When he played music when he was like 17. Started learning everything, and grew up and played all over and played in bands in UMass, and we did the Guitar Dudes. He played up at UMass. Epic Murphy's every Wednesday. He was like a staple there.
Yep.
All the kids used to go out and go see the Guitar Dudes for years. And then he recently ended it the year after I got lived. This year he ended going up there because things have changed. People don't really know them. And like 20 years ago, no one was really streaming. DJs weren't like crazy. There was a lot of live music, and now things have transitioned backwards as far. Not backwards. I guess things have just transitioned in their own way, where live music isn't necessarily crazy, and I think it was more so of a generational thing because like my dad was playing songs 20 years ago, and kids still love the songs. I'm not saying they do; they'll sing every song, but like a lot of the kids that like modern music, that's not really acoustic because they did acoustic guitars. That's not really like acoustic stuff, so it's like hard to take those two. Because like you're not gonna. I did that. I was a cover artist before I was putting out my own music.
Really? I never knew that.
So yeah. So like.
What were you covering during those days?
So, I guess I'll just explain like my backstory of like my whole life of that led to music. So, in high school, I was in the honors level chorus. So I was the first freshman guy ever in honors level chorus, and
you went to Chicopee High?
I went to Chicopee High.
Okay.
My mom brought me over to McDuffie because McDuffie was just like too much money, and it was good for what it was at the time, but I knew it wasn't like permanent.
Okay.
I knew it wasn't really going to give me any longevity. The kids there are just kind of like these. They come from like, I guess I would say hoity-toity, like upscale families, but they're like. The kids there are just a little askew. They're a little out there as far as like their ideologies and who they are and socially and things like that. And it's like a feeding ground for that, and that's great and all, like, do you, but like for me that like wasn't it. Like I just didn't necessarily feel like I felt like it wouldn't have been a regular high school experience if I stayed there from middle school to high school. It wouldn't have been, because it was a 6 to 12. So I went to Chicopee and I started doing honors chorus, and at the time I was learning guitar when I was like 12 years old back in middle school. And I was in honors chorus and did all these things, and then I did musicals, I did district choir, I did all that, and I was doing a lot of stuff in high school. And I had always sang. So after I did all these stuffs in high school, I went to Towson in Baltimore. I had graduated and I was 18. And when I went there, I kind of just went crazy because I was like, not crazy, not in a bad.
You had the freedom.
I had crazy freedom.
Yeah.
And like, I had never experienced that. And like, back home, like, when I was 14, I was 5'8", and the weight I am now, I'm like 250. Like, I was I was like your height and like my weight now. I was a short, fat kid. That was awkward. That really, when I was born in Agawam, and like, that's all sort of like the same people. Like, Chicopee has an urban environment with a mix of like anywhere from like upper class to homeless. Like at that school, so like it was a good mix, but I had never experienced that before.
Yeah.
So like that kid, and I'm not like, at that time I was like pretty socially awkward. I mean, I always think I'm like kind of a goof, and like I've always been one, but like that was like really bad. So like those kids like thought of me as what they thought of me. I changed a lot over the 4 years, but those kids thought a lot of me. Thought of what I thought. But when I'm in Towson, no one knows me. I'm the only kid from Massachusetts at a school in Maryland. Like, no one really thinks of. When you're in Massachusetts, there's so many good schools. Yeah. So like no one really thinks of Maryland. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird state to go to. Like Delaware, weird state to go to if you're from up here with Harvard and Yale and Quinnipiac and Boston College and Boston University. You have all these schools that are like really well-known Ivy League schools, and you go down to a random state school in Maryland. It's kind of weird. But at the same time, you have this image that no one knows you yet. So like when I went down there, I didn't really know what I was doing. I had just played lacrosse my senior year. I had just, I did Key Club in high school. I don't know if you know what that is.
It's a volunteer service.
Yeah, and I was big. I was high up in the ranks of the national organization.
So what is it for people that don't know? Because I don't know what Key Club is.
Key Club is just an international community service organization. So you see Kiwanis, the K's with like the circle around the highways and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a denomination of that. So it's Key Club, Circle K, and then Kiwanis.
Oh.
Circle K is really not much of a thing, but Key Club's big in that. It looks really well in college.
Yeah, at my high school you had to do community service. I think you had to do some sort of community service in order to graduate.
Yeah.
So we joined the Key Club in order to fulfill those hours.
I did like 300 hours of community service throughout high school, which was like pretty big. Like,
Yeah.
most people have like 30. I had like a lot. It was a big thing in my life. So when I went to school, I was kind of all jumbled. I didn't have everything like together. And then my freshman year, my roommate threatened to shoot the school, and the FBI came in, and like he was doing drugs. And like at the time, like I hadn't even smoked weed yet. Like, and I still don't drink. So like to me, all that stuff was like, you know, he's doing coke and LSD and all this stuff in my room. It's kind of traumatizing a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to like use the word, but it was like kind of daunting.
It was unsettling for you.
It was
Because you're not
unsettling.
used to it, yeah.
Well, unsettling when you're first coming into school. So here I am, like not really doing anything, like not knowing what I'm doing. I try to pledge a fraternity. That doesn't work.
I did that too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I
Right?
failed halfway through.
And those kids were dope, and it turns out it actually worked in my favor because that fraternity's now kicked off campus because of like hazing. Like I got hazed.
Oh, yeah.
So like it got kicked off, but in the fraternity there was a rapper there. His name's Porter Bay, and I was like, "Yo, I sing," and I like recorded over his mic one time and all that stuff, and you know nothing really came of it. When I left the fraternity, I wasn't talking to him much the next semester. So second semester hits, and you're talking about a school in the South, like right at the Mason-Dixon line. So the South is like very fraternity based, very this, and the whole school is bar based. And at the time, I didn't have a fake ID, so like I'm really sitting here at a school, and I like don't necessarily know what I'm doing. I don't know what my direction's going to be. I don't know where I am, and I'm 7 hours away from home, and you know I don't really have a solid friend group here. I don't have any of that. And then I was at a party, and this kid was like hollering down from like the basement, and he was like, "Do you mind if we come up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come up." And I don't even know whose party I'm at. Like I can't even tell you whose party I'm at. I just remember meeting E-Man, Mike, and Breck. Breck Creation, his name's Jake, and they came, and they were this group called E17. I think it was Hear No Evil at the time. It's kind of the same now, and they were all rappers. And I was like, "Oh, that's dope! Like I sing." And they were like, Recreation was like, "Yo, come to my studio." So I was like, "Okay," and I had sang, and I started singing over YouTube beats, all this stuff, and like I was like, "All right, I'm gonna make an album." I had that, so I had really plans my freshman year to do it, but I was really like, put it this way, I've always known that when it comes to music, I know I can sing because I've been singing since I was 10. And I've been classically trained, and I have all these things. So like, I know I can sing, but as far as piecing it together to make it an enjoyable song with a good hook and things like that, I didn't have anything like that. Then, or like even for a long time, or you know, people can even say that now I don't have it together.
Are you still you're still piecing that together?
Yeah, like I'm still piecing. I feel like with my last album, I definitely had all my pieces together. Like I definitely was like on my own. I was like on my shit. I feel like I was like, okay, I'm confident, super confident about everything on it. But like before, I wasn't. Like I was just like, okay, I can sing. Let's put out music. So I transferred home, and it was a really bad summer. I gained a ton of weight. I was like 6'3". I was like 6'4", 280. So I was like gained a lot of weight from college and kind of a mess, and really didn't have any nowhere I was gonna go. And I come home, and I knew I had to go to community college. And at the time, I was like, you know, I kind of slacked off at school. I was a National Honor Society student, and then slacked off and failed some classes at school. So I was really all skewed up. So I started working as a bouncer at a bar in Amherst called Monkey Bar Amherst.
Yes, this is where I started hearing about you. Keep going.
Yeah. And I started working there. And in my head, my only plan at the time was, all right, I'm going to go, I'm going to bounce up here, I'm going to have job security, I'm going to get to know people in Amherst. And then a few weeks in, my boss was having artists play on Friday nights. Mm-hmm. And these artists were just not bringing anyone in, and they were terrible. Mm-hmm. They really were. And I was like, Rossif, pay me whatever, like, I'll perform. He was like, all right, I'll pay you hourly. I'll pay you like a bouncer shift for performing on Friday nights. And I had to bring my own equipment and do the stuff. This is my first chance. I'm in a nightclub and there's 2 rooms. There's a front room and a back.
What year was this?
This was my sophomore year of college, so this would be 2015 going into 2016.
Okay.
I started performing. And at this time, when I had come home on my 19th birthday, I was with my friend Cody, and I remember I was like just wicked high or whatever, and I was like, screw it. My 19th birthday, I'm gonna buy a lottery ticket. So I bought a $10 lottery ticket and I won $500. And I've always wanted to make original music since I was like in high school. Like I've always had this like plan to make music. And when I would do the choirs and stuff and all these musicals and all this, and everyone was like, go to school for musical theater and go to school for like all this, because that's what I was always on stage doing musical theater, and like that was a big thing. I was like, I love being on the stage, but this isn't like what I want to be doing on stage. Like I've always had the dream of being like an artist or like the frontman of a band or something like that. Like my father and like who I've seen in this I want to be that charisma on stage. I want to be that, me. But I didn't necessarily have the tools to do it. And when I got my stuff, I got a mic, a MIDI, and an interface. And I pirated Logic on my computer. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to be paying for exclusives. I know how to play guitar. I know how to play bass. I can figure out how to play keyboard. I can figure out all this other stuff. I play guitar, bass, ukulele, keyboard. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So, what kind of inspired me was like Kanye, and another guy who inspired me a lot to start making my own beats. Like at the time was like Russ, because that's when Russ was first starting popping.
I was just about to say that.
Because Russ had about like 2,000, 3,000 followers when I discovered him on Twitter. And it was me and my boy, and we followed this Daily Loud, and he was posting, and I was like, Russ is so fire. And I was like, I'm gonna be like, I don't personal views, I don't really like him, but like music wise, like he really had it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be like him. Like I have all the tools. Time goes on, and I now have the plan. I said, I'm gonna make covers. I'm gonna play at the bar at Monkey Bar. At Monkey Bar, I was working I was going to HEC and I was working Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. So what I would do is I'd go to class, and then Thursday night I would drive up at like 7 to 8, chill with my boys up there, who I became I call them the Echo Boys, because like we lived at Echo Village, and that's just the best way to describe them. But like my roommates, my homies from high school, is who I lived with, and I reconnected with them when I came home, and they started working with me at Monkey. So I was like, all right, I have this plan. I'm gonna work on the weekends. I'm gonna have job security. I'm gonna get my name known. I'm gonna start playing these covers, and then once I get to the point where I'm producing and singing and I have something cohesive, I'll put something out. Junior year hits, and now people know me. I performed at Oktoberfest, and I was doing covers still, and I had all my things together, and I was, I was mixing, mastering, I was getting to know the stuff, and I was like ready to put out music, and I was like, I don't know what it's gonna be, but like I know the tools, I know how to make beats now, I got it. And then basically a crazy traumatic thing happened in my life, where this is kind of this is kind of somber, but it does begin the start of my music career. So I'm not gonna mention like names or anything like that, but essentially a coworker of mine like attempted to kill himself, and like I had to save his life, and he basically like tried killing me because I was trying to save him, and then like cops came, bars opened the door, kids like, there. They got him down, all this stuff. He ended up surviving, but like, it was really traumatic for me. And when I say like I had troublesome, like when I was growing up in Agawam, like I was like attempting suicide at like 10 years old, and wicked suicidal. And I don't think really people know that about me, because like it's such a tricky subject for me, because I have all this like mental illness is such a big thing nowadays, and it's such this, and I put it in my music, and I try to just leave it in my music because I hate just like going on tangents and talking about it. Sometimes I just feel like it makes things worse when you see that you're anxious all the time. like, it's good to talk about it to someone, but writing it on a piece of paper, or like writing it on like, our tweets are pieces of paper that we post. They're notes that we post online. And like, when you see that constantly, it just is like not really good for your mental psyche. Because at the end of the day, it's great. You need to let your things out. You need to let your things out. But what's the next step to move on to make sure that you have a happier day? You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to go on my tweets and look at some tweet I said every single day about me having anxiety. I wouldn't want to look at that. Like, to me, that's just like, wow, you know, anxious, like, wow, like, I'm anxious. Like, no, you gotta try to.
There's gotta be another tool in your. There's gotta be another solution to that. That can't be your only release.
Yeah, it can't be your only release to like post Facebook or post whatever the stuff you gotta do. Like, and I find myself doing that when I text people all the time, and I think that's something of a flaw of mine. Not necessarily a flaw. It's like I get my stuff out, like I go about my days right, but like I'll just like text people like stuff or like whatever the case may be. But going past that, because of like my younger childhood and like being that kid that was so young, like so young being suicidal and so young doing that, and then kind of 10 years later, like being this like I've changed completely, like a 360. Like I'm not that kid who I was when I was younger, suicidal. Like when I was that age, you couldn't ask me what I thought about who I am at 22 because I wouldn't have been able to tell you. Like, I was that bad. And now to see it in kids my age, because like this is like the shit. This is the quote that I just want to take from this. The shit that people are going through now as far as their mental health thing, like I went through the majority of that back when I was a young kid. And I have the coping mechanisms to like deal with it now when people are finding it at 20, in their 20s. Like I found it in my...
Can I ask you this? When you were going through the things you went through, did you already have the solutions? Like, as far as going about finding the solutions, did you have tools available to you, or is it something that you had to figure out more?
No, I had like a wake up call that required me to like move schools, and like that wake up call woke up people around me to be like, okay, like this is like a real thing. Because I wasn't like, don't get me wrong, like I did have I have general anxiety disorder, whatever, I'll say it. Like that's the case. Like I'll have depression, that's the case, I'll say it, whatever. But for me, it was like the people around me thought I was wicked sensitive, and I was, because I was wicked sensitive. Like I was kind of like, I was in the hospital a lot because I thought things were wrong with me. Turns out it's like this mental thing that's causing me to feel pain. It's like some weird syndrome, whatever. Like a lot of this anxiety stuff was like them thinking I was kind of a boy crying wolf, or like over exaggerating a little bit. So like that was kind of a wake up call for me. But you just like see the beauty of life, I guess, once you get out of that situation and once you get out of that good place. And I'm not saying I don't have bad days. Like right now, I would say like my life's kind of on a down, but like when I know I'm on a down, like it's never to that like level of low to want to kill myself, because I know how it is to be at that low. In life, people have peripherals, right?
Yeah.
So like as your days get shittier in your, you know, or whatever in your head, or the way life goes, your peripherals close and you're suicidal. And as much as you have all these people saying, "Oh, we love you, we care about you," you don't care because you don't see it. You have like I said, you can't see the peripherals. You have these things on you that you only see one point of view. You don't see the outer view, and it just like destroys you.
So did you end up going to therapy?
Yeah, I went to therapy like a few times, but I went to therapy a few times when I was younger, because I had to, just to get out of it, and I went to multiple different therapists. I didn't really go that long, but I went for like little spits. And then when that particular incident happened, it was right before college break, and I did go to that because I was mentally like screwed up from it. Because it was a mess, and like the coworker woke up from the mental, like I don't want to get into too much details. Essentially, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but the person I saved, I know we're digressing, but the person I saved, who I still love to death, and you know, he's gotten changed, he's become this person that I, you know, wanted to see. He's kind of done me, he's grown and become a person, and sees the light of day. He didn't see the light of day, and he didn't think anything, you know, he thought what he did was wrong, but he didn't see a solution, and like he was still in the same realm, and he didn't want to change his behaviors to be able to get to the point where he could be better. And I think that, and the coupling with the fact that, you know, some girl I was with, you know, who also worked with us, like basically stopped communicating with me that day. And that's not even really, and you know, as years went on, I've realized that's not her fault. That's a lot for someone to take in. And like I was like selfish of like me not realizing that because I was petty about it, which goes to the story about my music. So this is where it comes in. All right. Christmas Eve, I made a song about her, and like I put out a song called "Losing You," which is completely deleted from the internet. Don't even try to look it up. And it was terrible. It was on SoundCloud. It was mixed poorly. It was obviously about this girl who probably was dealing with a lot, seeing this, you know, seeing all of this happen, like being on my side. Like that night, she was I only called her and the cops. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot. So I put out the song, and it was trash. It was bad. And I was like, all right, it was bad. But in my head, I'm like, well, I've wanted to do this for years. I'm not stopping now. I'm not. And I'm going to do everything on my own or with people around me that I, you know, producers or whoever that like I like. But I'm going to try to do everything on my own. Like at first I was getting my stuff mixed by Breck. You know, Jake, who's the kid in Maryland, I would send him stuff, you know, he'd mix it for $10. Like at the time we were both new, so like, you know, rising the ranks, I guess.
Yeah, build together.
Build together.
Yeah.
So as years on, but my plan as far as music was beginning to work because then I was getting booked for like the first Spring Fest, and like the first Spring Fest, like people knew me from the bar. Like I was DK from the bar. Like everyone knew me from Monkey, so like my plan with music was working.
And this was all still like a junior year, right?
This is my junior year.
Okay.
And the music kept coming, and we started doing Springfest and all this stuff, and then from there, it kind of took off. Like I was working and doing stuff and doing stuff and doing stuff and kept putting out music and kept putting out music and kept collabing and da 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 da, and now we're here. So like that whole incident or whatever really like made the first jump and like the first like, okay, I gotta do it. I gotta throw myself out there. Who cares if people say that? And over the time, I learned how to market myself correctly and put myself out there and make sure I'm on all links and on Spotify, and you know that I have good cover art and that I have like somewhat of a reasonable music video. And sometimes I'll fail. Sometimes recently, like the last album, I put out a music video that I don't really like it now, but hey, you know what? I did it. I had the guts to do it.
Which music video are you referring to?
It was this Driving 40 music video. I wish I put more effort into it, but I was like, oh, I feel like this needs a visual, blah, 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 blah. But
You live and you learn. You grow from that.
yeah, but I don't know, things haven't really, when people really started to pay attention to me was really only like a year ago at the end of the day. Like no one really, there was one song that like really, it was the Going Back song. It was an EDM remix by this dude named Rob Terrier from UMass. He remixed my song over the summer. And he has a big presence on SoundCloud, and it popped off. So like people knew me from that, and then I released the Gone music video, and I was doing shows and people knew me. And then I think the big thing that people like really like started to be like, okay, DK's actually like good. It was College Girl. I think that
That's still one of my favorite.
Yeah. I think that by
I
far
love that song.
was like, okay, people who never listen to me are gonna listen to me now. I think that's that's basically like my story as far as the music. I always knew that I wanted to do it ever since a young age, and then it kind of took that like traumatic incident, which if anyone's listening, I don't think they're listening, but like if they are listening, like I apologize for mentioning it. I have no hard feelings to you, but you know, over time I realized, you know, and that's how I started with music, I guess, you know, and I filter my emotions to it. Yeah, like Therapy Session Part 1 was probably my favorite beat that I've ever made. That was like the lead on like King of the Jungle was like the least played. Like no one really liked it. It was like the most emotional song to me because like I like talked about like my life and how people perceive me and like how I know people perceive me and like everything I've been through and like all that stuff.
You know, when we had the group discussion
Yeah.
that you took part in, you know, thank you again for being part of that. You mentioned something about, people knowing who I was when I was growing up versus the artist that I am currently.
Yeah.
And that's something that stuck with me
Yeah.
since November, because it's so true. It's because we grow up as individuals of, trying to figure out who we are. And now we put out collectives, we put out products, we put out whatever it is that we're doing. And we're not being taken seriously because we're still perceived as that individual that we once were.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Do you? I hear you talk about it a lot, so it brings this question up to me. Do you see you're still working to separate yourself from who you were years ago, or are you?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
Was there a struggle for you?
In the past, yeah, when I first started, yeah, it definitely was. But I think making amends with all the people that I came home with, and the people that I really didn't, the people that I were like really not fond of growing up, turned out to be the people that I thought they were going to be, and I don't care what they have to say. And I've gone from literally having the thinnest to the thickest skin. Like any insult, affected me back when I was a kid. And now like people I'm an easy target. People joke about, like even at work, people will joke like, no, I'm an easy target, because I just don't. I don't care. Like I know who I am at the end of the day, and I know what I have, and I know what I got. Like, and what I've been through. Like, okay, so, but yeah, I mean, sometimes I think about that. Sometimes I think like that. But like, as of recently, like the Echo Boys, I call them, or like the roommates, right? My friend group. They were probably the harshest critics of me, and then like now when we go out, like they request to bump my songs, they bump my music. Those are the people at the end of the day that I had to worry about. Oh, like they know me, and like they'll still be like that. They know like how I was when I was younger and the separating the artist, but like they mess with my music. And at the end of the day, like that's the people I want to impress the most, because those are the people that were there for me before it, kind of deal. And saw me grow.
Yeah, those are the people you hold yourself accountable to.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this before in another podcast. We were talking about who you hold yourself accountable to is just as important about, in regards to surrounding yourself with people you respect. Because that's how you get better. Your surroundings dictate who you become. For you, did you have to find yourself, restructuring that friend group, or did you find yourself looking towards surrounding yourself with more like-minded people?
I just have always been the kid that has like always had friends. Like my friend group, the roommates, like I've always been friends with them, but like we weren't like really, really close until college. Like they're my best friends, and we were always like really close in high school, but it was like brothers like in college. I've always been like a kid that's always like mixed around with friend groups, and I think with music, like-minded people, yeah, I've definitely gone with different groups of people. Like for instance, I mean, Cam has definitely been like the guy I think I've associated myself with when it comes to music, who has helped me restructure a lot of things, and like we have a lot of the same similar goals. And then from there, I met all the people in Western Mass and people in Boston and whatever, and it's gotten to the point now. But I don't know, I keep my homies always close, and I have other homies too, and just how it is. I don't really have like crazy beefs, and I'm a huge extrovert at the end of the day. Like I'm not an introvert. I might be talking like low now and not like boisterous, but like that's
Mr. Being bad, I'll do that to you.
After you created Little Boy and put it out, all of a sudden I wake up one morning and I go on Twitter and I see Adam22 No Jumper retweeted by DK. I was like, okay, like what's this about?
Yeah.
I click on it. He's like something like, oh, look at this, and then it starts playing and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What just happened?
That was wild. That was a few weeks ago. I like looked at my email and I had like 10 notifications on my comments, because I got like 600 views on the video, but I was like, why are there all these comments? And then I was like, no way. And I went to Adam22's video. I was like, I knew this, and I originally scrolled past it, and I was like, okay, I'm not on here. But I was like at the 17-minute mark, I was on this video, and he hated it. He roasted me completely. But then it was the best. It was like the most like, okay, this was my plan the whole time thing ever, because if you looked at the YouTube comments on that video and then you saw the people watching it on mine, a lot of people liked my video out of all the videos that were profiled on there. They were like, wow, this actually hits. Wow, like you don't understand the market, Adam, like blah, 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 stuff like that. Which is, I mean, you know, country rap with all the memes and stuff like that. That's what it was. So, yeah, he didn't like it, but he gave me a platform. And, like, people are hitting me up. Like, bigger people are hitting me up. All that stuff. Like, I don't need to have a justification of, like, the actions I do if it's going to be, like, ridiculous. Because, like, I know, like I said, I know.
Well, that is the justification. It gets it to the bigger platforms.
No, I'm saying, like, I don't need. Justification is a wrong word.
You don't need to justify to other people. Is what you're saying.
I don't need to justify to anyone because there are people looking at me that I know that are looking at me. There are, you know, there's a big label executive that has my number that I've talked to multiple times, and like no one knows that. And he, you know, he's Partisan Fontaine's manager.
I don't know who that is.
He's the dude who goes for Cardi B's album.
Oh, cool.
Okay, he made a song "Back It Up" featuring Cardi B. You probably heard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he manages it. You know, he found me. He manages Party. He manages other people. He works at United Masters and all this stuff and Republic, and so you know, there's people, and he loved the video. You know what I mean? That's an example. He commented a bunch of fire emojis on the video. He follows a bunch of people and has to work all these things, and he still followed me and liked it. So like, you know, okay, yeah, you may not like my video, but he does, and he has this much power. So like,
on to the next one. Okay, this is one that got sent in. The artist name is DK, and the song is called Lil Boy.
Georgia. Here we go, back to my roots. I got my boys here with me, we gon' ride through the night. We got this big truck bumping with these women, alright. I don't drink no beer, but my homies got the Bud Light. And if
Oh boy, this is already just the best thing ever. I don't drink no beer, but my homies got the Bud Light. Why don't you just say something else? If you don't drink Bud Light, how the fuck are you rapping about Bud Light? Also, you're a dickhead. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Just because, you know, it's like you're a fucking dopey looking white guy. You got your stupid ass camo cowboy hat. You got these fucking overalls on. It just makes me wonder, like, what you thought you were gonna do here. Because, I mean, I'm sure you're a nice guy and everything, but you're not funny. So that's like kind of the main thing to me, is that you put all this effort into making this video, and you're obviously aware that you're not the typical rapper. You wanted to sort of make like a parody of what the average rap song is like, and instead you made this, and it's stupid and it's not funny. It's supposed to be like, if you're not gonna be good, you got to be funny, right? Like, what is the point here?
you're acting ignorant, little boy, so you better get back, little boy, better get back, little boy, better get back, little boy, you got.
God, it was so necessary and essential that you made this song. My whole life, I've just been wondering, like, man, one day I hope that some dickhead in overalls makes a song and that the chorus is get back, little boy. Like, that is what hip hop is lacking. Even your friends, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm pretty sure all your friends are thinking, like, wow, this guy's a dickhead. Like, why is he putting us through this? Like, we didn't do anything to him. Like, we're trying to be good friends by showing up for the stupid ass rap video, and this is what you're putting us through. This stupid fucking video. Even these guys, even that guy right there with the glasses, even him, he knows that this is not it.
And I'm gonna go and say that I don't like when you go and run your mouth about how you're trying to be funny, but ignorance ain't for me, cause I ain't no ordinary country boy in this bitch. I don't like that white elitist misogynist, and maybe
Oh, so good, so essential. Like, thank God that he included this scene so we know he's not that kind of white country guy. He doesn't like Trump. Probably every other guy in his room likes Trump, but not him. Nope. Separating the kids from their families in the detention centers? Nope. Not into it. I'm against that. I'm a good dude. Boom. Okay.
Alright, you already know what time it is. This week, it's the new music featured on Adam 22's No Jumper. This is Lil Boy by DK.
this is for my Nan, rest in peace, Nan. Come on, boys, we gotta go back to our southern roots on this. Some Atlanta type shit. College Park, down South Georgia. Here we go, back to my roots. I got my boys here with me, we gon' ride through the night. We got this big jug bumping with these women, alright. I don't drink no beer, but my homies got the Bud Light. And if you're acting ignorant, little boy, you'll know you better get back, little boy. Better get back, little boy. Better get back, little boy. You gotta get back, little boy. I got this feeling that you don't want any trouble tonight, but if you keep acting up, you're bound to start a fight. No, we don't like when people go and talk crazy. Is that really your girl when she's calling me baby? Now I'm just a city boy from a country state, but I got my ideas and I'm gonna go and say that I don't like when you go and run your mouth about how you're trying to be funny, but ignorance ain't for me, cause I ain't no ordinary country boy in this bitch. I don't like that white elitist misogynist. And maybe if you respected your girl, all these people in your life, then you wouldn't be in this position tonight. I got my boys here with me, we gon' ride through the night. We got this big jug bumping with these women, alright. I don't drink no beer, but my homies got the Bud Light. And if you're acting ignorant, little boy, you'll know you better get back, little boy. Better get back, little boy. Better get back, little boy. You gotta get back, little boy.
Well, that's all we got for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, DK, for joining us. Thank you for taking time. Keep doing what you're doing. If you are interested in finding DK's work or his personal page, hit him up on Instagram at DKKKKK_. You can find his music on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Music.
Yes, again, shout out to DK for coming through and doing that episode with us. Make sure you check out his work, like Devin was just saying. Shout out to our sponsor, J Cells Vintage. For all your vintage wear needs, make sure you hit up Justin over at J Cells Vintage. Also, another shout out to the guys over at All Mankind is Stupid. They're doing dope work. We met them over at the Boston Pop-Up. That episode's gonna be dropping soon, so make sure you stay on the lookout for that. As always, next week, pop it up for next week's episode. We're gonna have Austin Ferry. Austin Ferry, if you don't know him already, he's an artist out of Chick D Mass. He's well known around here and in the Boston area. So we're gonna be talking to him about the work he does over here and in Boston, and kind of the work that he's been doing to pretty much bring together the two scenes, or the work that he's been doing really just to, elevate the music in general in this area. So it's gonna be a really fun episode. So make sure you pull up for that one. Anything else?
No, that's about it.
All right, everybody. As always, I'm Brad.
I'm Devin.
And this is it.